Amazing Grace from time to time, and I wonder if you really take time to listen to the words of the song. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Friend, that's what we were before Christ saved our souls. We were wretches. We were wretched and we were lost and undone. We were without the joys of salvation. We knew not the peace of God that passeth all understanding. But now, God in His mercy has claimed us and saved us by His amazing grace. He has redeemed us. He has bought us back. That's what redemption is about.
Spiritually, what was your life like before Christ?
Well, I was just like all others. I just didn't give it much thought. Just wandered around, you know. It was different. But I never did, I didn't give it a lot of thought, but I went to church anyway.
What was my life like before Christ? Well, I was 16 years old when I came to know Christ. That's a long time to remember. I wouldn't say it was like any different than any other teenager or anything like that, but what it was I had come to a revival down here at our church through Sandy, and she would bring me there and stuff, and that's how I came to Christ at that time. But as my life was, it was just a normal teenager. I used language and everything else that a teenager does.
Are you going first or me?
Oh, you go first. You go.
Okay, I wasn't an awful person, but I did make a lot of bad mistakes. I hung out with the wrong group of friends.
Yeah, same. I wasn't like necessarily like I mean, I sinned because we're all sinners, but like I wasn't doing like bad things. And I know God sees all sin as the same, but I wasn't a terrible person. I just was kind of living normally, I guess.
Well, spiritually, I was lost like the rest of the world, really. You know, I don't know. I was raised in church all my life. That's all I knew. You know, and we went to church all the time when we had church. And it was not a question where I wanted to go or not. It was I had to go.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, you know, because I can relate as a young child, even before I was saved. I can still remember even some of the messages those preachers preached on. I can, believe it or not, I can still remember some of it. I don't know. I've always had a thing about church, even before I was saved. You know, I'd help sing the choir and stuff, you know, and even lead the singing.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's pretty much my life. And that's where I was. I was always in church.
Now, did you run from Christ?
You know, I don't remember doing that because the night I was saved, I got the feeling I just went right on up. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Like I said, you know, the vacation Bible schools and stuff like that. I attended all those as a young kid, and I can remember one specifically at Lost Creek that they had, and it was back when Brother John's dad was actually preaching there, and I came under conviction there, and then. Well, I need to go back further than that. My papa tell me about Christ, and I always felt like there was a special tug there. And yeah, I can say I ran away.
No, I can't ever recall. I say I was never in a lot. I was. we had church on Saturday nights and Sunday mornings, and then we go down to church on Sunday night. But even before I saved, I would, on Saturday night when the others were out, crowding around the thing, I'm always home for 10 o'clock on Saturday night. I was in bed.
Yeah.
I would say I did. I had freshman year I moved schools and I met a lot of good Christian friends and I kind of pushed them away and went towards some not good friends. So I'd say, yeah, I definitely did.
Yeah, when I would like sin and like knew it was sin, I would always try to like avoid like maybe like just listening but it caught up to me and we'll get to that in a second, I suppose.
Do you remember getting mad at people when they would tell you about Jesus, when you would hear the truth?
Not really. I don't never remember ever saying anything, about, retaliating in any way whatsoever. I don't ever remember that.
One time, and it was I don't know if it was truth or not because I was too young to remember that, but it was television evangelist people. Talk about the end times and stuff like that always got me nervous, and that's what they would focus on to try to get you scared, but that's what I remember most. So yeah, I guess I did get a little angry about that. And my papa, when he told me that I was going to hide from Christ when he came, but he told me it was impossible, so I guess I got a little angry at him for that too.
I always grew up, like my mama and my uncle, they're all really involved in the church. I always went to church, so I don't think I necessarily got mad. I just always went to church, heard about God.
I never got mad either, but I did feel guilty when I just felt embarrassed kind of, if that makes sense.
No, I didn't get mad. I listened.
Did you ever get mad or upset about being lost?
Sometimes I thought, like, man, this is unfair. Like, look at them, they're happy, they have a good church that they go to all the time. I'm over here sitting at my church, I don't really know anybody, I'm not involved in anything. And I kind of felt like God didn't love me as much as he loved others, even though now I know love is all the same.
Yeah, I felt that way too because it's so easy to like judge somebody else's relationship with God. And like when I wasn't necessarily going to church or saved or involved, it kind of made me feel like I was just like not as loved by God, even though the only people that should know about your relationship with God, the only people it matters between is you and God. And you shouldn't worry about other people's relationship with God or like be jealous of that or something.
I think comparison is definitely...
Yeah, you shouldn't. Yeah, that's a good word. Compare.
It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Very negative. And I feel like I compared myself a lot.
And it's unique to each person. And I feel,
I can't even remember that. No, I've never got mad or upset about it.
Yeah.
I've got, I had a lot of concern at times,
Yes.
but never would say mad at myself, No, I don't remember that, no.
Well, I wondered about, the only thing I wondered if they were telling me the truth or not till I found out the truth, till I felt like I knew the truth.
The truth of Christ is that you can't do anything without him, and you're nothing without him. And when you as every human being is, or every man does, is they try to do things by themselves. They can't. You can't save yourself. You can't do nothing without Christ. And I think that was the basis of the anger right there, because you can't get away from the one who made the universe.
When did you realize your need for Jesus?
The night I was saved, never give it much thought until I was saved over to Lost Creek Church.
I think back when I was that teenager, it was Brother Turner at that revival, and I can't remember what he preached on, but I do remember that there was something that was just different about that service.
At an early age, probably 10, 12 year old, I've always there was always something that, you know, that I knew was different in this world than what I, you know, possessed. I had a lot of mentors. You know, I had a lot of my grandparents and my dad and my mom, you know, and my aunts, uncles, you know, they were all church people. Back then, that was our second pastime, or, you know, the farming and things like that. And we were in church when I was a kid. I was aware of, I was lost at a young age, you know.
We had a youth rally at our high school, and I was like, I always went to Bible club in the morning when I woke up on time because it was before school, and they were like, we're having this youth rally, everybody needs to be there, and the math teacher was the one over it, and she was like, Bailey, you're going, you have to go, encourage everybody else to go. So I was like, okay, I'm going, and I just realized I need to go, and then from there I found an amazing church and an amazing church family. So.
We had a revival at our church this past spring, and for weeks, since when Bailey invited me to go watch one of our friends who was a preacher, and I just enjoyed going to the youth group, and just the messages kept hitting me harder and harder every week until like the last night of revival was when I got saved and when I knew that.
Why did you trust in Jesus?
Because I was broken.
Because I believed in him and I wanted, I was saved and I wanted a home in heaven.
Yes.
I was broken at that time, at that revival. And I knew my life would only change would change for the better by accepting him. That's all that's going to change. So I was headed a different direction. I never did tell anybody this, but I was going to do a baseball career. I was going to go somewhere where, I mean, you can imagine all the stuff that been in that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was going to. That's where I was wanting to go. But God had different outlook for me.
I got saved at a youth conference in Tennessee, and when I looked around, I was like, wow, all these people have Jesus in their heart, and they believe in God, and I feel like I do, but I don't think I've ever said the words. I don't think I've ever admitted to myself, admitted to others, and just publicly did something. And I was like, I'm gonna go up there, and I need to, and I knew I had to do it right.
Yeah, like Bailey just said, before I was saved, I was still like, my parents taught me about God, and I prayed and had a Bible, and I just felt like each time like you go through something, or each time you can just read like a couple verses in the Bible, and like if you pray to God and just like read the Bible and do things like that, life goes so much easier, and you find like answers so much, you just find more peace, I guess. And that helped me in that way.
Why did I trust in him? Well, I was by the Holy Spirit dealing with my heart when I heard the gospel preached. I got the place I didn't have other way to go. Mm-hmm. You know, I believe I found out that, you know, that this world, what it had to offer was what not I wanted. You know, and I was one, even in a teenager, I was one who never participated in the proms and all these things because of alcohol and stuff. I was called a lot of names, you know, but
Yeah.
But Grant said to say I'm still living a lot of them now today or not in my class.
Yeah. Do you deserve Christ's love or salvation?
Yeah, everybody does.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought I didn't before. I was like, no, I'm so far gone, even though I wasn't really that far gone. I thought, no, he doesn't love me anymore, obviously, because look at all my friends. They're getting all this. They have these amazing families, amazing lives. Their family isn't broken. But then I realized once I started like hearing other people's testimonies, and their testimonies were way worse than mine was. So I would say everybody does, yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody should deserve deserves to know Christ, and we necessarily don't deserve what he did for us, but we all deserve to believe and learn and worship him in that way.
Yeah.
Did I deserve it? No, I did not deserve it. It's because of his, like you said, amazing grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, by his grace, I am what I am. It's what Apostle Paul said.
Do I deserve? No, I don't deserve anything of what God has blessed me with. I mean, I think most people who are saved understand that what they're most deserving of is his wrath, not his blessing, but it's God's grace that sheds that unmerited love toward us. Therefore, undeserving as we are, that's how wonderful he is.
What would you tell to the unbeliever?
What I would tell the unbeliever, just like Christ himself said, that he's the way, the truth, and the life. No man can come to the Father but by him. You know, in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And that's what I would have to say.
Yeah.
I'd say, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and thou shalt be saved.
Yes, that's perfect.
Find your church family, and just see what God is all about. And I believe he'll truly touch your soul if you just pray and believe. And everybody, like I said, everybody deserves Christ to be loved. So
I would tell him you can't run from him. I mean, you can try and hide, but eventually, whether it be him taking something from your life, or Pastor last night was talking about, if you're not right with God, sometimes he can put you on your back and show you who's boss. And I would just say it'll eventually catch up with you. And I mean, you can try and hide, but he'll catch up to you.
What are you waiting on? No matter how much you try to make one, I mean, look at the things that's going on in this life right now. That's very abstract from what the truth really is. And what would you, let's put it this way, looking at what we're seeing today, how could you not understand that there is a God? Because all these things are mentioned in his book.
How would you sum up what Jesus did for you?
Well, the only thing I know is that amazing grace saved me. How sweet the sound.
Amazing grace.
amazing grace. His grace is amazing. It truly is. And when I felt him in my heart, like I felt the squeezing, and it's amazing. No words for it, really.
Yeah, you can't describe it except just amazing grace. And people, no other person has ever walked the earth that has showed that type of loyalty and love. Yeah, it's amazing grace. It's all you can say.
Well, through His amazing grace, that's it. And it's the only way. It's the only way that any man's ever saved by the grace of God. That's it.